actually want to help and good help organizations, and then people who think this is just overwhelming for Denver as the city that has the most migrants per capita at the moment.
Yeah, the most migrants per capita. I appreciate you bringing that up. And let's talk about the asks, because we are seeing this list of demands from some migrants in the city. Were you surprised by this?
But I'm actually surprised because I understand that Denver's mayor, Mike Johnston, like he talked about in our interview, has been doing more than a lot of mayors across the country to try to find ways to solve this, even pulling from things like the police budget, the fire department, our Department of Transportation. So when you get hit with a list of 13 demands from migrant organizations, on the outside looking into other communities and other mayors that are not calling themselves quote unquote sanctuary cities, this can look like a big issue, like kind of like if you give a little bit of an inch, then people take a mile. And so
what? No. Wait just a minute. Let's play that again, but with a proper edit this time. Roll it.
Because, we're looking at that list of demands, and I think a lot of people are interested in humanitarian aid when it's needed. But I think some Americans may hear, they want culturally appropriate food. They shouldn't be here. I mean, tell me about the push and pull of the actual populace that's living in Denver.
Yeah, it's really a tough situation because when you think about it, there are homeless people in Denver, just like every other city.
We have lost it. We have completely lost it. Denver migrants making demands. But you Americans, you're not allowed to do that. You have to do as you're told. And that's why I'm here to tell you, Americans, your government hates you. Let's get started. Okay, guys, so usually I translate some of these reports from Spanish networks, but this time around, ironically, they haven't reported on this, at least as of this recording, or not to my knowledge anyway. But either way, I put together all of these reports from various news channels for you to see what is happening in Denver in chronological order. So let's watch. Can someone please ask V. Reeves, what's your take on the homeless Americans or the homeless veterans that are still struggling today? What's your thoughts about that? Please, someone send her those. First of all, malnutrition amongst children is completely unacceptable in any part of the world. That should never happen. They're innocent. They don't know what's happening here. But look at that picture right there. How disgusting is that? That these kids are playing around these tents due to the lack of responsibility of their parents. Okay? Their parents are doing this, not us. It's not our fault. This is their own doing. And obviously, the Biden administration for allowing it to happen. But imagine they are creating a huge problem, and then they say, well, this is a massive problem. Now you have to help us solve it. No, you created this mess. You have to clean up after yourself. But we know that is not going to happen. Invitation is incredibly necessary. You're right. But that's why you have to go through a process. You have to qualify, then apply, pay your fees, and wait your time. You just don't show up anywhere and demand documentation. That's insane. B. Reeves over here, she needs to do some reading.
Them to be able to navigate the bureaucracy around these systems.
The city says its own offer comes with these benefits.
Wait. Is that a Palestinian flag on top of one of those tents? Oh. I can't.
living near railroad tracks in Denver's Central Park neighborhood are going to be swept from that spot tomorrow. The city has offered shelter, and the people living there have refused it.
The migrants here are not only fighting the elements.
Again, this pisses me off so much. Here we have it one more time, another woman using her child as a shield. And we just let it happen. What's next? I'll tell you what's next. More of them will come and repeat the same behavior. Why not? They can get away with it, make demands, and put the kids through this nightmare without being held to any standards or accountability. What a shame. What a true shame.
They're fighting for a chance at stability.
Bueno, no es fácil porque uno no está acostumbrado a vivir así. Pero es lo que tocó.
Mandy Pimental has been at the Central Park encampment for a month with her 4 kids.
Con esto nos calentamos. Esto usamos para calentar.
Mandy wants to stay at this encampment, but the city has a planned sweep tomorrow because it's on private, railroad-owned property.
El día de mañana nos han dicho que tenemos que desalojar.
Denver Human Services says families here have been offered 30 days in congregate sheltering. All of those offers turned down.
Pero en mi experiencia aquí, como en Denver, en los refugios, no tan buenas.
So let's see. She's not used to living this way, and the shelters have not been good to her. So then, what are you doing here? Go back, right? Go back. If you were better off then just walk back. Common sense.
Aquí, como en Denver, en los refugios, no tan buenas.
Declined over distrust. Families here don't necessarily believe the offer will become a reality.
Yo no me da garantía que ellos me digan de boca vamos a un refugio, sino me da un papel donde que yo diga, bueno, certifique que yo voy a estar 30 días, un mes, 2 meses en ese refugio.
Americans, relax. The migrants have the right to demand free rent for 30 days or more. You guys do not have the right. Just know your place, okay? Please, know your place.
Even advocates have different ideas of what's best. Some want people to accept the sheltering. Others want the city to improve shelter conditions before families accept.
My plan is to work in partnership with the mayor's office to figure out what we might be able to do to keep folks from being swept.
Councilmember Chantel Lewis is working to find a solution from feedback she heard today.
Ultimately, it's no different than a lot of the things that we hear from communities is that there's an ask to stay together, which I think is a perfectly normal ask that we hear from many folks who end up gathering in this way.
Families here want some kind of solution, one they can trust will offer stability that won't put them in an even worse position.
Voy a estar aquí con mi familia, con todos. Y si mañana nos van a sacar a la fuerza, no sé dónde estar, si estar en un cuarto o también volver a otro sitio a acampar.
This encampment has been set up for weeks. It was run by All Souls, a nonprofit that is now asking people to move from the camp before the sweep tomorrow. Meanwhile, Housekeeping Action Network has also been involved. They want those demands met, 13 in total. That would include, for instance, letting migrants cook at the shelter, creating more access to showers, and offering consultations for immigration.
You feel for the migrant families, though, that are getting different pieces of advice from different nonprofit partners who are all trying to kind of help in their own way.
Right, and ultimately you also have city partners like Vive and Papagayo, trying to also step in, offer resources. The city says that they have desperately tried to do outreach at this camp. A spokesperson says when they've been there, migrants haven't had water, for instance, so they wanted to step in. They've also offered resources like vaccine clinics. They say advocates, quote, have been preventing us from getting people inside.
I have no doubt that this will be the reason why Joe Biden will never get a second term as president. There is no possible way that that can happen if the voice and the vote of Americans matter. Let's go over the final update on this migrants in Denver situation.
Today, the city of Denver was clearing a camp of about 100 migrants. It happened early this morning in Central Park, just south of Northfield.
They cleared that camp this morning and another one this afternoon.
Yeah, well, not only were they swept that first time, they were also swept a second time in the sense of getting kicked out. So this is the second encampment that was set up after the original encampment, was shut down and swept by the city. Like you guys mentioned, about 100 people at that original location in Central Park, which is really off of the railroad tracks. And so the city cited safety concerns wanting to sweep that camp this morning. So they moved from that original location next to the railroad line and they packed up their things and dispersed to smaller camps, at least 2 that we know of. And at this one that we're here today, police immediately came and kicked them off that property because they said camping wasn't allowed due to it being an airport property. Individuals this morning were offered 3 days. Later this afternoon, however, they were offered 7 days of shelter, and they ultimately, all of the migrants, they changed their minds and they decided to take up the city's offer of shelter rather than continuing to another camp and declining that shelter arrangement.
So today we were really strongly encouraging folks to come inside for everyone's safety, especially the safety of the children. And the solution is to bring them inside for a meaningful length of time with very strong case management to help every family and the individuals make a plan that's appropriate for their situation.
That was Sarah Plastino, the head of the newcomer program for the city with Denver Human Services. Now, I did speak with migrants. It was a really chaotic day. There was a lot of change, a lot of commotion happening. We spoke with one gentleman who said that he planned to take a bus out of the city just because he had reached his limit, that they kept kicking him from place to place. He really had no stability, and so he actually had accepted a bus ticket. When he heard that the terms had changed to 7 days, he changed his mind, said that he would stick it out and see how things work out for him here.
There's a lot of trust issues they have, and they've been through a lot. So this was a critical day.
A critical day, and actually that was what led, in the city's words, some of that distrust actually caused migrants to turn down the shelter offer in the first place. Families in this case get 30 days in the shelter, as we reported yesterday, and a lot of those families turned down that offer because they said they couldn't really take the words of the city without, for instance, like a written word, hey, I will be in a shelter for 30 days, because they had been kicked out prior. And so this community does have, some distrust, but all of them accepted this offer today. So as the city says, this is progress.
Imagine. This is progress. Well, don't imagine it. It's already happening. Homeless Americans, homeless veterans, poor Americans. That's right. Poor Americans that are out there and are struggling to put food on the table, to pay their bills, their rent. Forget about it. Who cares? Long time ago, before I became a citizen, I never understood why anybody in America would be anti-immigration. It didn't register. Why? I would say to myself, we come here to work hard. We want to add to the economy. So why would you be against us? Now I get it. Now I understand. This is something that immigrants like myself often don't see. We come here to work hard. And I'm not making this about me, by the way, but I'm just giving you that perspective, okay? My train of thought was and is come here, work hard, learn the language, assimilate, love the culture, love the American culture, and tell the Americans, why are you against us? Tell the Americans, look, we love your culture. We love your language. We are working hard. We're making the economy better. So Americans, you should be happy that we are coming here. But now I see the other side. A lot of these morons come here to take advantage of the system, commit crimes, make a mockery out of America, make a mockery out of those that live here, which includes immigrants too, by the way. And now I'm like, okay, I get it now. I do. Well, guys, and that is all she wrote for today. I do want to thank you for watching this video. I'm trying to keep you updated. There's a lot of stories out there, but I'll get to them eventually. I want to give a special thanks to those of you that support my channel. Don't forget to check out the shoutout section in the description of this video. Furthermore, please follow me everywhere, just in case. And don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We are growing incredibly fast thanks to your support. And lastly, please let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section below. I will see you on the next video.